Live from the nation's capital, Gaborone, this is BTV News at 3. I'm Ulibile Samoka. Let's take a look at stories making headlines. Residents of Tlokweng encouraged to take proper care of their livestock. National Blood Transfusion Services a year on a law as blood in the bank is critically low. Athletes drilled on doping control processes. Interpreting in sign language. Now, thank you for joining us. In our first story, Ugandan today assumed the chairman of the non-aligned movement ministerial meeting with just 2 days left before President Yoweri Museveni ascends to the chairmanship of the 120 membership body founded in 1961. The 19th non-aligned movement summit comes at a precarious time globally where peace and security are under threat, climate change is reversing economic gains of many nations, and the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals is limping. This summit is expected to pass progressive resolutions that will reshape the world order in alignment with the principles of the non-aligned movement, which are promised on political self-determination, respect for sovereignty, non-aggression, non-interference, and equality. Glaring on the agenda of this summit is for NEM to propose a peaceful resolution in the Palestine-Israel war and other conflict regions of the world, United Nations Security Council reforms, and the reformations of the United Nations. The Ministerial Committee ends tomorrow with a clear proposal for the heads of state who convened on Friday. Now back home, the Member of Parliament for Tlokweng, who is also the Minister for Communications, Knowledge and Technology, Mr. Thulagano Sekgokgo, has implored Botswana to take care of their livestock amidst the outbreak of foot and mouth disease in South Africa's northwest province. He says it is crucial that farmers should ensure that their livestock does not mix with cattle from the South African side. Mr. Sekgokgo, however, assured residents of government's commitment to controlling the spread of foot and mouth disease. Samantha Khabaeme and Termakweng with more.
Foot and mouth disease can be one of the detrimental factors for livestock production, and as such, caution should be exercised when herding livestock, particularly during a time when a neighboring country is having the outbreak of the disease. As such, farmers have been encouraged to take care of their livestock such that they do not cross the border, and in addition, government is doing all it can to prevent any possibilities of the disease spreading to Botswana.
Se ke batlang go se kopa hela ke gore ke gatella mahokwana a buiwa a foot and mouth disease e ka go South Africa le baka la gore ebe gompieno le bona re bua ka ena re mo Tlokweng ke gore ha re ko Africa bora ha re e ko KwaZulu Natal ra re e mo northwest re na le matshosetsi a go tsenwa ke bolwetsi mme ga kologala gore ha botsena re bua ka dikgaolo tse leng gore di ntse di supiwa ile green zones ga ke re la itse leng gore ke dikgaolo tse leng gore o rekisa nama ya tsamaya ko Europe.
Details of the recently launched Temoletlotlo were also availed so as to empower the community with knowledge they can use to take advantage of this program, which is intended to help alleviate poverty.
The micro scale farmers level 1 and level 2. Level 1 yone ithalositse ka gore ke ba ileng gore ba neelwa ke officer rona ya boipelego yone ithalositse. Yano level 2 micro scale level 2 mo guideline e le go ngwe re bone mo Facebook mo di WhatsApp ine re 2.5 go ya kotase ba ile gore ba na le letseno la 2.5 ga kotas jano phetogo e tsileng ke gore jano level 2 e setse re 4000 go ya kotas ha letseno la go ile 4000 go ya kotas o wela go micro scale level 2 ba micro scale level 2 ke ba ileng gore bone ba thuswa ka 100% grant go tswa go peu monontshane go lemelwa go le moti.
Members of the community were commended for the developments they made in Sefuke Ward, particularly the building of the office in the Khotla by the Village Development Committee.
mme mo kgaolong ye ya rona ya Sefoke ka tshwaragano ya rona le bogosi le councilor re kgonne tse dintsi thata re le VDC le morafe wa Sefoke. Example le halanka ya efang mo bogompieko ke ofisi ke le batsadi ga di mangala hale le bone ofisi entlentle ya agilwa ke VDC.
At this meeting, the Member of Parliament took some concerns with him and promised to seek appropriate solutions with relevant authorities. Terry Makoeng, BTV News, Gaborone.
The Member of Parliament for Linzwele Umupani constituency, Ms. Naniki Makwinja, has encouraged the Roman Catholic Church to continue with the support they give to their youth who are in pastoral training and those who have been ordained, as this is not an easy calling. Ms. Makwinja said this at the ordination ceremony of Father Laone Motlwe at Kopong Village recently. Pretty Mokwezi.
The role of youth is said to be ideal and profound to spread the good news of salvation, hence the Roman Catholic Church's commitment to continue training and ordaining new youthful pastors to advance God's work. Father Laone Motlwe has been described as a hard worker during his pastoral training, and much is expected of him to impact lives and draw them close to Christ.
go le boima mo go ene me a ntse a itse gore ra mo rapella me gape re batla go bona a fetsa me re bona gore ke motho o ka kwa di weather di sa mo tshwareng sentle dijo tsa teng di sa mo tshware sentle me fela khotlhella gore a ba fetse.
The newly ordained father shared that his priesthood journey was not easy, more so that he was far from his family, but he managed through prayer.
You spend most of the time away from home. Zambia, Rabo, South Africa, Philippines, Kenya. Ke lweto le le tele thata le ke le tsamaile dingwaga tse 11 e le gore ne ke tsene mo dikolong tse di farologaneng ke kopana le dikgwelo tse di farologaneng mme gompieno re leboga morena modimo go bang kgontshitse go bokele teng fano a ntlhophile go direla batho ba gagwe.
The church elders and the youth have been encouraged to support the newly ordained pastors so that their spiritual work becomes easy.
Re mo kgothatsa ngwana a rona gore ka tswetswe a tlhomame mo pitsong a inetsweng ke modimo re utlwile gore tsela ga gagwe ne se bonolo le ene go tla a beiwa diatla go ro tsamaile ka tsela e leng gore ne ga kgamatsa.
Ke dula ka South Africa ka go ema ngwana ke no keng a bewa butiakone be re bolela gore after 6 months wa boa o tlo go boa gape a bewa bopresita batho ne ba mpotsa ba le bantsi gore o se bete ya mosadi kwena go kgona go itshwarela ngwana le mongwe fela hela ga o le ga o reng.
Youth have been advised to seek God and attend church in order to grow their faith and develop worthy characters that will continue to unite the nation. Pretty Mokwetsi, BTV News, Kopong.
The principal blood recorder at the National Blood Transfusion Services, Ms. Tumelo Khare, says going into this year, they are below the target amount of blood needed to service patients throughout the country. She emphasized that the low number of donors they usually receive was worsened by the festive season, where many BOTSWANA were not available to donate. Ms. Khare revealed this in an interview with BOTSWANA Television News earlier today.
The World Health Organization has set the National Blood Transfusion Services a target of collecting 45,000 units of blood per year. However, the local blood transfusion center says they failed to meet the set target last year and also shared that the available low volumes continue to be depleted as the year has begun.
As of last year, from January to December, we've managed to collect 27,800 units of blood. That is just up close to 50%. So ha re simolola ngwaga teng re simolola ngwaga on a low note somehow because re itemogela batho ba bantsi ba eneng gore ba tlhoka madi go dipateleng, maybe because madi a neng a kgobakantso a dirisitswe ka nako ya festive season e leng gore was characterized by people not being around the centers tse leng gore na le tsone go ka donate ba ile ko magaeng ba travetse yalo yalo.
Ms. Khare emphasized that while hospitals still have supplies of blood available, the current situation is not ideal.
Doctor, I guess for as long as we are not reaching the target, every day is a crisis because where we are right now is it's a hassle to get patients enough blood as it's needed. Say motho go tlhoka dipaente di le pedi gongwe itlhela go hiwa ile one gore go hiwa a mang. So the fact that we are not reaching the target on its own is a crisis.
However, she did share that they have increased their community outreach appeals to address the situation.
We have quite a number of panels. We visit dikereke, we visit companies, we visit schools, we visit youth organizations, we visit communities in general. So we are trying to do more community-based blood drives. We just go maybe to Muchuti kana Mulepolule and stage.
Yeah, watching BTV News, thank you for staying with us. Now, moving on, Parliament has put forward a motion to revise the laws on bailouts. This was said by the Member of Parliament for 30 Westminster, Simon Mabi, during Khotla meetings at Masingwaning and Sechele villages. Faith Ditete reports.
Mr. Mwabi says they recognize the importance of revisiting bailout laws upon Botswana's concerns regarding the matter.
Botswana le ntse le la ka khanya di bailout le la gore batho ba tsa di bailout ba di hiwa me ba dire melato e hakamatsang kana ibile motho a dira molato a batswa gape go ira molato mongwe me ya nore le parlamente re tse molao wa gore khanya di baili ibe ka ira di tshika tshiko pele motho a ka di hiwa itsela gore Botswana betso re utwane ibile re tlhalogantse khanya re buang.
The road connecting from A3 through Gulubani, Masingwaneng, Mambo, Sechele, going through to Masonga remains a dire concern to the villages.
Tsela ya ho bona Gulubani, Masingwaneng, Mambo, Sechele go a letsola thebe Masonga. Re sa le re dile ka tsela eo. Tsela e ke tsela e leng gore e khutshwane hela thata ha motho a tswa Francis Town. Tsela e ke tsela e leng gore jaaka ditamelo tsa rona re di tsa ko Masonga. How to tola hela uriana o tola yone vuku yo saling re lebeletse ditshipi mo go ene ke 15 minutes hela wo setse o tsene o thusitse go Masonga ibile o buile ya no tswetswe re kopa tsela.
Masingwanen residents requested boarding hostels at Pelailo Junior Secondary School, lamenting on how their children walk 8 kilometers from Masingwanen to Makaleng every morning, citing that the access road from their village to Makaleng is also in bad state.
Batsadi ba bona gore bana ba sekoleng ba ka ba go khona yana ka dikolo ba go tsena ledi akile jaanong nna se ke se dilang ke dila di hostel mo Makaleng re tsere bothata bana ga ba tsene sekwele ba bangwe a ka se mama marapeng di ene maboipele go tsere bothata a motsoto o a Masingwane o ka nna maboipele go duelela bana khombi a go ka nna motsonzi nja a ke re tshwanetse gore le rona re itumele re je Botswana bana ba nne mo di hosteleng nna ke kopa di hostel go Makaleng ka go pilai hela se ke se kopa wena dira gape gore ke go leboge gore tota o dirile di hostel.
Ke utile selo sa lona batsadi bogolo yang selo sa tsila le nna ke ibone tsatsi eno mo mosono ke ne ke dirisa tsela rona ga ya nna sente bogolo yang 2 kilometers utswa mo Makaleng e seretse me ke buile le ba council re dumelane le ba council gore seretse sa 2 kilometers se tantshiwa re ka tsenya gravel me le skala hela pilo ka lo itse ne re tswa mo di khantse tsa se ga jaja madi a se a bonale me re tanama re dirile sengwe ka khanye ya tsila.
Residents were commended for their response and action towards the Temole Toto program. Both localities were encouraged to remain hopeful as their pleas for developments will be considered in the not-so-distant future. Faithy, DTT, BTV News, Masingwaneng, Sechele.
Incidents of women being raped by criminals before robbing them of their valuables at their homes at Odi and Matebele villages continue to increase. Broadhurst Police Station Commander Superintendent Duthusitse Lokai told BTV News investigative journalist Nkutlile Tamari this morning that criminals have launched a massive raid at the mentioned villages where they inflict injuries, raping and rob residents.
Residents of Odi and Matebele find themselves in deep trouble as they are forced by hardened criminals to spend sleepless nights who are taking and harassing people in the middle of the night and get away with high-value goods. These are some of the many goods recovered by the police from criminals who are still under their custody after successful arrest in different criminal acts in Odi and Matebele.
Mo motseng wa Odi di case le 22 la ha ile gore gone go nagana phokotsego ka gore the year 2022 di ne di le 24 mo kotareng yone ke phokotsego ya la mela te mebedi go thuba ile go thuba ga bosigo ka ithela di case di ka nna 13 ko Phakalane ile koketsego ya di case di le 10 ka gore the previous year ya 2022 di ne di le 3 mo kgaolong yone ke o kametseng gape ile ya tsholofelo ga gona ga nna le go thuba le go utswa ga di-case di le 13 ga motshegare compared to 15 ya the previous year ya 2022.
Criminals are no longer only focusing on attacking, injuring and robbing their targets, but they have now developed a tendency of raping women in their homes before robbing them.
Mongwe ya dikgetsi tsa teng gone ga nna le dipetelelo tse ile gore ba thubile a re ba tshwantse go utswa ba betella motho ile gore ke motswa sethabelo pele ga ba motseela dithoto ya ne ke se kere go diphatsa dipetelelo mo kgaolo yone ya Odi gompieno mo kotarene heta setse di le 5 mme le ngwaga o hitilene ntse di le 5 dipetelelo mo kgaolo yone ya Odi.
Investigations on incidents of theft proves that there is a good market for television sales, followed by cell phones and laptops. However, there is no pattern to what thieves choose to steal.
Batho ba re gona se se ka jiwa ko motseng wa Odi di ka go tsa terra go a lebega gore ya re go aga batho ba bana le itshulelo se tsena di ka ta go tse di sikana ka sepe mo ona motse wa Odi ene a re hela mo malobera tshwara banna ba sena ona ba thuba hela ya re ba tsantse gore ba boela mo ga borona e be bile re ba ithela sekganedi sa rona be le gore ra phuruputsa ba re ithela ile gore lwana tse di mo go bone di a belaetsa le tse re na le another breakthrough e le gore gone go mo case e dirahetse beke e hitile ya go thukuta ga ba go betelelo ra di TV ke tsentse di eteletseng pedi TV di laptop le di lo di tshwana le di ring ha ke itse gore di ring ba di dirisa go ka di ring tsa manyalo le any jewelry ba kopana le yone mo go thubeng mo ga bone.
The suspects are still in police custody to help with other leads. The police also request members of the public to come forth and identify their goods. Nkutlile Tamari, BTV News, Odi and Matebele villages.
Well, that is the news this hour. To stay with us, Tato Khosimore is on standby to take you through the world of sport.
Thank you, Libile Samoka. It is an honor and my privilege to welcome you to In Context of Sports Update brought to you by Tato Khosimore. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at our top story this afternoon. Paul Billard's player Buinelo Molofi says despite the suspension of the local Billards Association from the BNSC, the teams have continuously worked hard to produce players who can compete favorably at regional and continental competitions. Molofi highlighted that in an interview with BTV Sport Desk yesterday after capturing the Women's Eswatini Black Ball Festival Champions Trophy over the weekend in Mbabane.
Kizamalofi believes her performance in Eswatini is a sure sign that they can hold their own on the international stage, which is a positive sign as their association is still battling for full reinstatement with the BNSC following suspension over administrative irregularities. Molofi admitted that it has been a challenge to go and compete at some of these international tournaments due to financial shortfalls.
Every player is fighting for her or his life. Right now, we use our money to do everything. Practicing, practice and going to the tournament thing, no matter whether it's international or local. You pay for your bills, everything. So I think mostly most players is because
Despite all this, Molofi from Assassins Club put up a sterling show at the Eswatini Black Ball Festival to top the ladies category ahead of the likes of world champion Beatrice Monyake to lift her first title in 2024.
A defense game win sepe alone because rona ne re itse go defenda go gore ne re gora hale but bontsi bana go ne re defenda thata so ke ithutile gona gore go defenda ga go ka ke ga go winisa game all the way up until the finals. So you need to attack more and defend less. When you defend o tshwanetse re itse gore ha ke defender ha ke tswa ke clean match.
The 35-year-old player added that her performance will be a boost for the ladies pool table team, which is preparing for the upcoming World Pool Championship to be held in Europe in October. Botswana Billiards Association ladies booked a place at the World Championships after finishing second behind the host South Africa at the African Championships held last month. Khobana Sehedi, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
Moving on, a National Anti-Doping Office representative in Tabogang Kubamang has highlighted the importance of athletes educating on their rights and responsibilities in the doping control process at both local and international level. Kubamang stressed that in an interview with Botswana Television Sport Desk, adding that it is vital for athletes to obtain proper information on available anti-doping programs to safeguard and prolong their careers.
The use of illegal substance in sport locally continues to be a concern, as the country has already recorded 8 major cases of doping, the latest being 2012 Olympic silver medalist Nigel Amos last year. With several major local and international championships lined up this year, including the 2024 Paris Olympic Games in August, the National Anti-Doping has prioritized anti-doping education to assist players and technical departments to avoid any mishaps.
But the only thing that we can do at this point is to intensify education. We are not only going to focus on athletes, because the athletes closely more than they do with us. So the coaches, the manager, even the desk officer, the national federations, we are going to make sure that all these sections are covered when it comes to education. We are also going to make sure that we do testing, because testing education, they need to know the process, they need to know their responsibilities, they need to know their rights and responsibilities as athletes, what they need to do, what they are expected to do, and how they are expected to behave.
Another aspect the National Anti-Doping Office will focus on is in and out of competition testing, which often landed athletes in hot waters.
And then we have where you fail to produce the sample, sample as the doping control officers into that, or how you don't comply with the doping control team when we do our investigations after a case. That's also an anti-doping rule violation. About people like Bolitile, they know what to do about it whenever they fill up from the 1st of January to the 30th of December. We need to know where they are, because because we don't know if ba iketlela ko ba le off season, what is it that they're doing? I ka ba khona go dira bo blood transfusion and stuff like that. And era season is simola le gore ba ga isa ba bangwe ba khone go mask and stuff like that. So we need to know where they are so that we can just pounce on them unannounced and then we do our job.
The relationship between NADCO and other sport controlling bodies is key in reaching the objective of reducing ever-rising number of doping cases.
The BNOC and BNSC is one when it comes to doping control. So all the time when they have camps, when they have a meeting or an activity, we are part of those activities so that we ensure it's part and parcel of the program. We don't want to segregate ourselves from the sport organizations because we are sport specific to our athletes and we need to ensure that they are well informed, they are facilitated and do the rightful thing. As much as resources we have managed to get some of these sport federations to actually pay for their own testing because testing sample collection is very expensive. So sometimes we try to teach them as a national sports federation, when you do your budget, you need to include anti-doping, education, and testing.
Last year, NADCO rolled out various anti-doping educator training programs for different regions in efforts to empower players, more especially the younger ones. BTV Sport, Gaborone.
Before signing off, here is our last story this afternoon. Now into AFCON news. Namibia put up a brave play yesterday, defeating one of the African giants, Tunisia, with a 1-0 win, their first ever win in the continental showpiece. Mali, on the other hand, outplayed Bafana, slashing the neighbors 2-0, while Burkina Faso beat Mauritania 1-0. In today's Group F encounter, Morocco will take on Tanzania, while DR Congo faces Zambia later in the evening. And that will be it from In Context, the sports update. In Context continues on their other side. Stay tuned and stay blessed.